She's calling back. We're going to try to give her a call again, and then she just added another phone number to the 13-year-old grandson who's possibly with the daughter. Step out with this.
2412.
Veteran crisis hotline's calling in, so they have a female veteran off her medication. She's over at the safe haven. Detective 12, check that one out.
6 Rumble, 6 1 Charlie, take your shot.
Also still stands for time? No. Offender in custody? Anyone else close by just let me know.
We're gonna go ahead and start it. We'll go ahead and start it before the saxophone. Who cares? Who cares? What's up, everybody? Appreciate you. Man, I tell you, I had such a horrible migraine headache this weekend. Sinus, sinus migraine. Ugh. And then after that, I did some rearranging. There's Mom's Day. Busy, busy. Man, whole bunch of stuff. I know you all have seen it. All the interviews with Tony in the Sebastian case, people going away. Shout out to the search efforts going on. Bunch of other stuff too. So I know it's been a few days. I asked the mods, I was like, what do you guys feel like? A certain topic? Or do you just kind of feel like talking about everything? They want to talk about everything. We're going to talk about everything. There's some new stuff as well. Have you guys heard of Ella Adler? Mercedes Vega? New stuff with Riley Strain, new stuff with Idaho 4. It has turned into shambles, Norma. I mean, not only the case, but just the mudslinging everywhere. You know what I mean? One of the things that I've done, not necessarily because when I had my migraine, it was for like 2 days straight, 2.5 days. I literally just laid there trying to like wait for it to go because it was bad. Couldn't even look at a screen. So, but after that couple days, I kind of did some rearranging here at the studio and was kind of getting some of the other things done that I usually have to, I got to be around to do. Stuff like that. And as I was doing these rearranging and stuff, and I'm listening to all these shows, and it's just like, geez, not only on the panels for, any of these shows. I mean, hell, you even saw what happened in Pascal. You know what I'm saying? You even saw what happened to Pascal, whereas mods like saw all the bullshit. I want to say shout out to the Angels. Let me do this again because I can't say it enough. Shout out to the Angels for always making this community what you guys see in the chat. Shout out to the Angels because you saw what happened over there in Pascal's show. His mods fixed it. They switched it to members only. That way it got rid of all the spew, Even if it's just for a night, sometimes you got to do it. And then he got on them during the live telling them that they needed to have it be everybody because he needed the super chats to ask the questions. I want to say shout out Angels. For real. Because, you go to, it's because we don't have 100 mods. Yo, we don't have 100 mods. We don't have 100 mods. It just shows me how amazing my mods are. Shout out to them. But what I'm saying is that there's all this, not only on these shows, but it's just and that's what I've noticed too. And it's like, wow, even if there's no new updates, it just every day is just more and more and more and more and more and more. I don't understand it. Now, there comes a time where you need to defend your character damn straight. But what's up, Casey? But when it comes time to like Is it really about Sebastian? It's all about this. I just What's up, Allison? Appreciate you. It's just that's why we're doing a true crime tonight. Night in true crime, because we're not gonna talk it has, man. You know. There's been a lot of reflection these last few days too when it comes to just yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like, wow. What has it really turned into? Not only you see it in the chats, but it's getting to all these other shows too, and it's just like, and I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. We've had our fair share of people making up shit, some major shit that just isn't true when you're trying to work with communities. Shit that you just don't accuse people of unless you have the proof. You know what I'm saying? It's like, for what? You know what I mean? Is it really about Sebastian? It's sad. It's sad. When I first started this show, when we started getting into true crime, there was a certain case that I just didn't even discuss, even though I had a lot of knowledge about. There was just a certain case I just didn't discuss because it's like, you know what? The toxicity has just gotten to such a point where I just don't even want to have the community experience that stuff. And if you go to my early shows, you'll see what I talked about. You'll see what because it's not about me, it's about you. I want you to be able to come in here and feel like you spent an hour, 2, 3, however many, where not only you learned something, but you got to spend time with people you care about, they do become your family because you learn more and more about them each day. And the last thing that I want to do is just have people be around toxic energy. It should be on finding him. And I don't understand. It's all about picking sides. I know, Casey. I do too. What's up, Brittany? How are you? I do too, Casey. I wish it was, I was driving home a couple nights ago. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, and I was like, I miss the days. And, because you guys were with me when we were out there. I miss the days that I wasn't coming home until midnight, having to get up at 4 a.m, sleeping through my alarms because I didn't get any sleep, not getting out the door until 5 a.m, making sure I stopped through for Hardee's and going out there and giving it a whole frickin' day. You know what I mean? I miss the days that I barely had any sleep and it was 7 hours of driving and, it's sad. And the crazy thing is that there hasn't been that many updates either. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of talk, from one side and the other side, on these different shows, with family or friends or whatever. But really, what kind of updates other than people not working with people, somebody else joining, what other updates? And then you add barely any updates other than, who's working with who and who's not working with who. And it's just it's a whole, but like, where's all this energy coming from? You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, Brittany. It's just like, I don't understand. I just don't understand. A lot of reflection. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what the hell is going on? I even had a thumbnail ready tonight just to talk about what the hell is going on. I don't get it. And then you see it's like, when any guests are on, whether you agree with them or not, when any guests are on, there's a thing called respect. And when I was hanging out during my rearrange here in the studio, just trying to change it up, you know what I mean? Just trying to change it up. I needed something fresh, you know what I'm saying? So I rearranged the studio. And I'm sitting there listening and watching Pascal on my laptop while I'm doing all this. And I'm just seeing the hate, and it's like, man, whether you agree with somebody or not, and this isn't, you can go through all my shows. I'm not sticking up for anybody. I don't stick up for anybody. What I've always been about has been about Sebastian, whatever the fucking way that is. That's what it's about. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter. Because it shouldn't matter if it's about Sebastian. And it's like, damn. What the fuck is going on, Whether you agree with somebody or not. The venom. It's just like, whether you go into shows, whether they agree with this person or that person, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's the venom. It's just like, what the hell is going on? It doesn't matter where. And it's like, there's not, is that what the case has become? Is just a bunch of people arguing back and forth about who's right and who's wrong? Because what other updates have there been other than, we've even said it to ourselves, our search crews. After all this searching we've done, and look at what's going on still with the locals. I wish I was local. Unfortunately, I'm not. But look at what the locals. They're not, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing. So why is there all of this, like, what is this case what does it become? When we have to take an hour out of our show, when we're focusing on Sebastian, to take an hour out of our last show just to prove stuff was not true that was being put out there for like the 4th time. What has this become? Where you have people making up shit about you left and right in all these other chats? What has it become? And I'm going to keep going back to it. With what new updates? It doesn't mean we're going to be done. What it means is that there's other souls out there too that deserve every amount of effort and energy that we want to give. That's why we're having a night in true crime. Now, the episodes where the family's been on, the spokesperson's been on, all of these other people have been on here and there. I know you've heard it. I've heard it. I know you've heard it. We could fill up 2 whole shows of everything that we've already heard already. So we're going to talk about some different stuff tonight. And I'm going to let you guys decide. I don't understand it. I really don't. No, they haven't accomplished what they wanted, Casey. Listen, you still have locals out there going out there, okay? They haven't accomplished that. They still have locals going out there. They still have Julia out there. You know what I'm saying? They haven't done that. Somebody that lives 2.5 hours away, it's a little difficult. For somebody that can wake up and be there in 10 minutes, hey, if I could get out of bed and wake up and be there in 10, 15 minutes, I would. I would. How many days in a row did I drive there and, Oh, no, I know you didn't mean that, Casey. You know what I'm saying? But if I was local right there, there's another case that's local that I've been working on that I don't even show. But when it comes to, being 2.5, it's Busby, you know what I'm saying? It's like I always refer to people, and it was the time when you, me, and Narc Divers were there together, even though we've done searches past that. The thing that I always remember, Busby, is when you, me, and Narc Divers were standing there together, and we kind of all said, man, all this searching that we've done and there's still no direction. And that's what my mind always puts me back in that parking lot where we were standing there after we were done, doing our search that day. And we just sat there and we were just like, after all the searching that we've done, whether we were together, whether it was separate, at that moment in time, after all the searching that all of us had done, either together or separate, it was the first time that we stood there together and we were like, after all this searching, there's no direction. And you see with the locals what's going on right now. There's nothing. There's nothing. Thank you for the tickets. I appreciate you tonight. What's up, Blackhawk? There's nothing. And it's unfortunate. That's why I don't understand. That's why I don't understand. I wish it would be about Sebastian, because a lot of it is not. It's about other people other than Sebastian. Um, mm. No, I won't be Blackhawk. Yeah, there's not enough evidence and direction that's factual. That's why it's like, that's why in the last show I was asking you guys, I'm like, what do you guys even think? 1, 2, or 3? 1, 2, or 3? Because at this point, you know what I'm saying? Where? 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 I mean, I offered my services, so but yeah, I don't know. It's like, where do you even go? Like, what? We've gone down to Mississippi, unless there's a massive search effort along I-40, and I mean massive because not only you got to go up and down the road, you got to go along the banks, and you got to search any rivers or lakes up and down that you're going to cross over, or any spots that you can pull off. You know what I mean? It would be a unless there's communities or some kind of massive search group that can literally be able to do that. I mean, like, what direction? What direction? I don't even know, Casey. You know what I'm saying? I mean, who knows? Kidnapping is just as much of a possibility as foul play. Like, in any way, it doesn't even mean foul play from the house. What if he was outside and there was foul play? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I'm saying. There's no, just like I keep going into my head of the memory of us standing there saying, wow, after all of this searching, not one, I mean, and we went on in woods, uh, underpasses, lakes, rivers. I mean, you name it, we searched. And never once, nothing. Nothing. And so that's why I'm saying everything is an equal possibility. Everything is a possibility, because what sign shows us something else? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing. Right, Stacy. Somewhat like this is 100% right here. This is what it is. Someone out there knows something somewhere. Kids don't just vanish. Something. Somebody knows something. Somebody. And that's the thing. Who? Who? Even a person that might have kidnapped him. Somebody knows something. Somebody knows something. But where the direction is, where the answers are, you see it even right now when there's people out there searching this moment. Where? You have a lot of people saying here, 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 here. You could say here, 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 until you cover the whole United States. If there's not an answer locally, then where do you go? For real. Because the firecracker just don't go off. There's a wick, there's a trail, there's a direction before whatever takes place. There's something, there's a direction. If there's no direction locally, where do you go? Because if you have this huge search effort along I 40, I mean, what would be amazing is if all of the counties that go along I 40, if each county could like have their own little group of people that would go search along their county's section of I 40, right? And go all the way down, right? That would be something cool. I don't have the resources to coordinate something like that. I have the ideas, I don't have the resources. You know what I'm saying? So then it is tough. But think about it. You break it down into, you don't just have this massive thing, you break it down into small communities because you only need a handful of people from each community to check their section of I 40. That's it. So you could literally break it down in small communities, and whatever community doesn't, yeah, but it's not huge if you break it down into small sections, Busby. That's what I'm saying by counties. I think it could. Because literally, you only need a handful, and if not, you just need permission. And I don't know what kind of permission you need to go along I 40, but think about it. Small communities each way. It just takes a little bit. It seems huge in its totality, of course, but when you break it down into small sections, but first you gotta, but you gotta find, I mean, if there's not a direction locally, then what do? The only other thing is I 40, right? And then after I 40, then it's the United States or more. And then at that point, but at least if you can't find anything locally, if there's somebody that has resources out there, take the idea, break it down into small communities. If you can't get anybody from the community to help, you don't have to be there. They can be there to look. If not, permission, and just break it down and just as you go. Because other than that, it would, right. This is what I'm saying. Even if everyone searched their own properties, I mean, you could break it down, small sections. Because you're looking for a missing child. It may take you a couple hours one day out of your whole life to go help a certain section. And that's what I'm saying. You don't make its totality, you break it down. it can be done. Right. Interstate crews are there to mow, and to do any kind of maintenance to the roads or whatever. But no, they don't go deep into the woods. And really, Busby, you don't even have to go that deep either, because if it is off the interstate, it's not like somebody went way in the woods, right? It would take a weekend of each person's time. That's not leading it. It would take a weekend of whatever section's time. That's it. That's it. I don't know, Samantha. I don't know. All right, let me see if we got any breaking news on any of these things, and we're gonna get into Ella Adler, Mercedes Vega, some Mica Miller, Riley Strain, Idaho 4. We are gonna start doing some specific shows, but I wanted to, since it's been a few days, I wanted to hang out with you guys and kind of let you guys decide whatever topic you want to talk about. So I'm going to have those the five out there first. Now, you might not have heard of Ella Adler, and you might not have heard of Mercedes Vega. Both two tragic cases, different cases, but tragic nonetheless. But also, I know there's some Mica Miller stuff out there, conversations with the family. We are going to be covering the Mica Miller stuff coming up here soon. And we're going to be going out there doing some work. So we will be having some specific shows for that, because I know there's a lot on that case too. So what do you guys, I appreciate you. So what do you guys want to talk about here? I'm just going to put their last names up, okay? Yeah, I'll put their whole name up. Give me 1 second. I'm going to let you guys decide. And this will be for the whole evening. And we might even do it again here coming up. But tell me which one you would like us to chat about first. Which I want to say shout out to Yoli. She was on another episode, Andrew D. Myers. Shout out to Yoli. It's nice seeing you guys collab. I'm so excited because I know when Andrew first started, we were on there a few times, and it's nice seeing, the people that started in the community are kind of like, I love seeing that stuff. So I want to say shout out to Yoli, shout out to Andrew D. Myers for another collab. That's very awesome. I'm so excited. It's awesome seeing you guys. Just watching you guys grow. Just watching you guys grow. Let me take some drinks of my coffee here. Now, Riley's status the results have not been released. I would love to. Let's do a show on, when's the next court hearing, Yoli? Let's do a show on the court hearing. Well, you guys will probably be busy though, won't you? We could always do a show on it, like on a replay. Oh yeah, some new documents in Idaho 4, some shit going on. Stacy. And then Riley waiting to hear on this toxicology. Well, We'll watch the Ella Adler first. I see some Ella Adler. I see some Vega. I see a lot of everything. Found out hearing was canceled at last minute. Yeah, I know. I was like, what? Yeah, there's some stuff we're gonna we probably have to do because we have to do our own Micah Miller show. I mean, like, there's so much stuff. We're gonna cover different stuff tonight, but Micah is gonna have her own show. Idaho 4, there's so much stuff now to talk about that we haven't talked about recently with Idaho 4. We're gonna have to have our own shows on that. And then some of the other ones we can kind of do combos and stuff, but especially with Micah Miller, there's like, it's just crazy. I'm glad that the FBI is in there, because man, the corruption, you know. So I'm glad to see that I'm glad to see like some good things. Yeah, it's a whole lot. That's right. It's a whole lot. But I wanted to watch that episode where her dad had came on and talked too, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that tonight. We have enough stuff for us to get some snacks. You guys are crazy. Yeah. So, all right. Let's get into this Ella Adler thing here real quick, because this is gosh, you can't even go out on the lake, you know? You're supposed to be enjoying, relaxing. You can't even go out on the lake, and this happens? Like, what the hell's going on? It's horrible. It's like Mallory Beach, you know? Just what the hell with these boats, man? You're out there. Let's be responsible. We'll check that out. It's only about 15 minutes. Yeah, we'll check that out. It's only about 15 minutes. We'll get into this, and we'll get into some of the Micah Miller stuff, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff as we get on through the show. So thank you so much for hanging out. Please hit the like if you haven't yet, and we're going to check out this episode. Wakeboarding, and unfortunately lost her life. And we'll do a vote here coming up to see if you guys still want to talk about this other stuff. So here's this episode here. Law and crime.
FWC officers have identified a boat fitting the description of the vessel that struck Ella Adler.
A 15-year-old girl hit and killed by a boat on Mother's Day weekend. The tragic story of the death of Ella Adler and where the investigation stands with an attorney who specializes in boating cases. Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Ella Adler was doing what people do in South Florida. She was out enjoying the water in Key Biscayne, Florida on Saturday when Florida wildlife officers say a boat hit her and killed her. There are still a lot of questions about what happened, but wildlife officials are saying that Ella and another girl were wakeboarding the day before Mother's Day, being towed by a boat.
This is horrible.
When they both fell in the water in different locations. Ella was hit by a boat. An incident report just released says that boat that hit Ella was occupied by one person, a 78-year-old man from Coral Gables. The boat did not stop. She was near the Nixon Beach sandbar off of Key Biscayne.
The boat is in our custody and its owner is cooperating. We'd like to thank all the public for their help and support in this investigation.
Only in Dade, a citizen journalism account on X posted videos showing what they claim to be the boat of interest being towed away by law enforcement. In a video posted on Facebook, an FWC spokesperson voiced sympathy for Ella Adler's family, reading a statement from the agency's chairman.
What's up?
As FWC Commission Chairman Ronnie Barreto said, and I quote, "Our community suffered a great loss this Mother's Day weekend. As chairman of the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, I would like to thank all our officers and those from various law enforcement agencies who have worked and continue to work tirelessly on this investigation. The FWC and its officers have called in additional resources from other parts of the state and have worked around the clock to find the vessel involved in the accident. As a father and grandfather, my heart is broken for the Adler family. Ella's death is devastating for her family, friends, and the community at large. FWC, and our partner law enforcement agencies will not stop until we have all the answers and the case is solved.
Ella is being mourned by her family and friends. Her obituary called her a star. I'll read just a little bit of this for you. She was a force of nature, and when she was near, everyone felt a gravitational pull toward her. In her 15 years on this earth, she dazzled us with her light. She emanated love and joy. She was beautiful. NBC6 in Miami reports the area where Ella was hit, she was near the Nixon Beach Sandbar, is a party spot and has had some similar incidents in the past. The TV station said it
has had some similar. Oh my gosh. Then it makes you wonder if there was some kind of substance involved. Man. Oh my gosh. Similar issues in the past.
Its reporting found at least 5 instances that left people injured or dead near that sandbar in the last several years.
Wow.
Ella was a ballerina with the Miami Ballet, appearing in the Nutcracker according to her obituary. She was also a student at Ransom Everglades School, where she performed on the dance team. Ella was described as compassionate and speaking up for what she thought was right. She always had a big posse of friends. That's also in her obituary. Ella's family released a statement Tuesday night confirming that First Lady Jill Biden paid her respects as they sat Shiva. Ella was beautiful and shined brightly. In her 15 years, she gave us more light than we could have ever dreamed. While we cope with this unspeakable tragedy, we ask the public to give us our privacy as we mourn. We also wish to extend our gratitude to law enforcement for their hard work and commitment to helping bring some closure to this horrific loss.
Wow.
I want to take a quick break from telling you about this case involving the death of Ella Adler to tell you about something that can help you learn more about the people that you encounter in your life every day. It's a great way. Mike Winkleman is a maritime lawyer. I want to bring him in to discuss this awful, tragic case. Mike, your first thoughts upon hearing about the crash that took Ella Adler's life?
Not again. I mean, Florida leads the country in boating accidents and boating fatalities.
Wow.
So sadly, this is a story we hear far too often. I think these are clearly preventable incidents, and it just breaks my heart that a 15-year-old girl with such a bright future is just cut short due to clear operator negligence.
And let's talk a little bit about that. You kind of live in that general area down there, and you're familiar with the Nixon Beach Sandbar area. And it's we were reading on the NBC6 website down there in Miami that there have been some other instances of people being either injured or killed in that general area. Do you know why that is? Is there just not enough signage in that area? Is it too congested? I mean, what are your thoughts on that general area, Nixon Beach Sandbar, which is named after President Nixon? He apparently had a home nearby at one point.
He did. He had a home on Key Biscayne a long time ago, so they call it Nixon Beach, named after him. It's right off the coast of Key Biscayne, extremely popular area in Biscayne Bay, which is really the heart of Miami, Florida. I'm a native Miamian. It's a beautiful area, wonderful area, which is why it's so popular, particularly with the sandbar. Yeah. Stiltsville is not too far from there, a really beautiful area. But it's a heavily trafficked area, a lot of high-profile incidents over the years, catastrophic injuries and deaths. Certainly wouldn't be the first place that I would take my family to go water skiing if I was going to hop out on the bay for a day. So I think there may be an element of some negligence on the operator of the water skiing craft. But yeah, very heavily trafficked area. Not my first choice for water skiing.
What? Is this a lawyer? Hold on. Is this a lawyer? Maritime attorney Mike Winkleman. So the boater could the driver of the boat that was helping her wakeboard could be held liable for negligence?
Wonderful area, which is why it's so popular, particularly with the sandbar. Stiltsville is not too far from there, a really beautiful area. But it's a heavily trafficked area, a lot of high-profile incidents over the years, catastrophic injuries and deaths. Certainly wouldn't be the first place that I would take my family to go water skiing if I was going to hop out on the bay for a day. So I think there may be an element of some negligence on the operator of the water skiing craft.
Wow. So... okay, hold on. Was the person that was driving the boat from the area, or did they travel there? Because if they traveled there, maybe they didn't. I mean, what do you? I mean, I don't know. I don't own a boat. So do you normally, wherever you go, take a boat? Is there any boaters out there? Do you normally, like, before you go take a boat out, do you look up all the casualties from that body of water? Is that something you're supposed to do if you're not from the area? You want to take your boat there to take your family out on the lake or whatever? Are you supposed to? Is that protocol or some shit where you gotta like look up how many casualties took? How would I mean shit? What if I had a boat? I don't know. Is that somewhere you can drive? I know they have islands connected by highways. Is that a part where you have to fly or what? I mean, so how could is so I don't know. Maybe I'm because I'm going off of this lawyer. I'm just learning about this. Was the person is has it been stated where the person lives that operated the boat that was operating the wakeboard? Does anybody know? Because if the lawyer's telling me that there's negligence because there's a lot of casualties, well, wouldn't that person have to know? And the only way you could know if you're not a local, the only way you could know is if you look it up. That's why I asked if it was a requirement that you have to look it up to see what kind of, otherwise, where are you supposed to, like, how are you supposed to be informed? And it's negligent that you weren't informed of the casualties that take place because you didn't look it up if you're not a local. So maybe the person is a local and should have known. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just checking. I don't know much about this. If any of you guys know, let me know. I don't know. How could somebody be held in negligence if there's not a requirement for you to look up the casualties at a certain body of water as a boat owner? I don't know.
But yeah, very heavily trafficked area. Not my first choice for water skiing.
You mean so yeah, the negligence, that's what he said, falls on the boat also that was operating the wakeboard. And I'm like, well, weren't they on vacation? So because they're supposed to see all the traffic? I don't know. I'm just wondering how the person that owns the boat is, saying no, you can't wakeboard. Not a smart, but maybe they didn't know that. How are they? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's new to me. I don't own a boat. I would love to have a boat, but I don't own one.
And because of heavy traffic like this, I think that's where there's a greater likelihood of incidents like this happening.
There's still so much we just don't know about what happened. We know that the FWC said that Ella was out water skiing. She's being towed by one boat, or a yacht, I think is how some have described it. She falls off, which is what happens. She's waiting for them to come back and get her, and she is horrifically hit by this other boat, and that boat does not stop. So we don't know much more about the
Oh my gosh, she fell off and then
circumstances other than the FWC says they've located the boat they believed hit her. The owner is cooperating, but we don't know why this person didn't stop. Did they not know that they hit her? How fast were they traveling? So there are a lot of questions that still need to be answered.
Oh, no doubt about it. There's far more questions than there are answers at this point. But what we do know certainly leads to an easy conclusion that the person that hit Ella was clearly at fault. And it was either a situation where if you give them the benefit of the doubt, they didn't know that they hit Ella, they didn't see her in the water. I find that extremely hard to believe, because if you are operating your vessel reasonably, you are keeping a lookout for dangers anywhere, not just to
Right.
protect the person, someone else, but to protect yourself and to protect your vessel. And if you're in or around Key Biscayne, Nixon Beach, that area on a Saturday afternoon in May, that's high traffic time in that area. So you should be absolutely maintaining a hyper vigilant lookout. So for me, in my opinion, it's hard to believe that they didn't know that they hit Ella, and instead they was a hit and run type of a situation. But giving them the benefit of the doubt, not that I think they deserve it, that would be the situation. They didn't know it happened. I understand there was a light chop in the area. Maybe they just thought it was a chop. I find that hard to believe. I think
Wow.
what I think is the more likely version of events was that they did know that they hit her. There's likely alcohol involved. They were likely out all day, coming back in, maybe even had autopilot on, realized it happened, decided to leave the scene.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
Yeah, because anybody that's been on a boat, you know damn well it go boom, and you're like, what the hell was that? You're not gonna be like, oh, we're just gonna keep going, y'all. No, everybody probably was like, whoa, what the fuck did you just hit? What time of day was it? What time of night was it? That's my next question.
you handle boating cases. You're an expert in this. So that would be your assessment. Plus, you're from the area. That's kind of your feeling, your gut feeling on this, looking at what happened, that it's highly unlikely that the boater, the driver of the boat, the operator didn't know that they hit somebody.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm a maritime
What?
attorney. This is all I do. I'm a
Have you guys been on fucking boats? Have they? Are you? Have they? If you hit something, especially somebody's body, unless you're going fucking like flying, and your boat's going boom, 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 boom as it keeps hitting because of the speed, maybe. But damn, that has to be real like for you to actually smack down. Listen, if you're not come on. Come on. You're gonna there's people that are gonna go, what the fuck? Because you know, they were trying to get it. They're probably gonna. They probably knew what the hell happened. They're going, oh, sorry, we thought it was a log, and they're gonna try and get away with it. But you know damn well they came forward because you know damn well they knew they hit something. Yeah, hold on. What? Yeah, thank you, Caddy. We'll go to that next. You guys will see the boat. Thank you, Caddy.
born and raised Miamian. Literally all the cases that I handle are maritime cases. The majority are generally related to cruise ship injuries. Those are maritime incidents, all types of incidents, but of course, boating accidents, yacht accidents, etc. So no, I mean, I've been doing this literally for 20 years. My firm's been doing this since 1971. Based on my experience and expertise, in my opinion, I think it's more likely than not that this was a hit and run type of situation.
No shit, Sherlock. We're in based off your experience. I ain't done no fucking lawyer shit for no boat shit, and I can tell you right now, it's common fucking sense. It's obviously a hit and run, bro. Like, where in the hell are you?
Let's talk about that.
Based off my experience, well, okay. I ate Cheerios this morning too, and guess what? I could tell you that it was a hit and fucking run.
Let's look at a couple of scenarios here.
Eat your Cheerios, y'all.
First of all, let's look at the hit and run scenario. Let's say this was a hit and run where the boater is aware that they actually struck somebody, Ella, and they keep going, and maybe there was alcohol involved. What are the types of charges that could be filed? if that was the scenario, the one.
It is the scenario because that's why they fucking ran and didn't stop and see if they could help. Because they were afraid of what this guy was going to say. That's why they're going to dumb it down and try and get something like manslaughter or something.
That you think is most likely.
Then the most likely charges would be felony vessel homicide,
That's
which is
why they
essentially murder, including hit and run, which would be an aggravating circumstance. And so you would be looking at an incredibly hefty prison sentence in a case like this. If you were looked at it from the other end and assumed that there was no awareness, they didn't know that they hit Ella, you would be looking at basically careless driving, which would be a much less severe type of sentence. So you've got a huge gap in terms.
Right. Oh shit, we're going to go to jail for murder. But hey, guys, don't say shit. Now, my question is, how many people were on that boat that have to keep How many people were on that boat that gotta go? That's what they want. They want to get something so slap on the wrist. We just tell them we thought we hit a log, everybody. Yeah, we were going down. We thought we had. Yeah, guess what? You get all them people in there, somebody is gonna crack and tell the fucking truth. Okay, look, this is what happened. And then they're going to be the ones that get the easy sentence, and the other ones are going to get slapped hard.
In terms of the types of penalties that could be, the charges that could be incurred, and of course the prison time.
I didn't have
the side of it. There's also the civil side of it, which I would guarantee this will end up in years of litigation, and all of which will be catered to do justice for Ella and compensate and make up for the life that was taken.
Let's say the other scenario that somebody's boating and heaven forbid they hit Ella and they didn't know and they kept going.
Come on now.
What kind of charges could be filed in that case? Because you and I were talking about this yesterday, by phone, and you said that wouldn't matter if they didn't know. You could still be charged because you have your responsibility as a boater to be kind of paying attention to what's going on in front of you and around you. You're operating the vessel on the water.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I think at a bare minimum, the criminal charges in play would be careless driving, not operating the vessel reasonably, which is a criminal charge, could result in jail time and really should result in jail time. Certainly, it's a far difference from if there was they knew that they hit Ella and they went away, far more serious charges on the criminal side. On the civil side, frankly, it doesn't really make a difference. There's negligence either way. It's just, was it negligence of just not knowing that they hit her, not keeping a proper lookout, or was it something more egregious in terms of they knew they hit her, they left the scene? Either way, that vessel is at fault. They will be on the hook for negligence for Ella's death, in my opinion. I think there's also potential liability as it relates to the operator of the ski vessel, choosing to go water skiing in this area, knowing it's a heavily trafficked area, knowing it's an area where there were prior similar incidents. So I think there's potential.
Okay, but if you're on vacation and you're bringing your boat, who says you frickin' know? Here's the boat of interest. Thank you, Caddy. Appreciate you.
Interest potentially connected to the hit and run case that left a teen girl dead is now in the hands of investigators. Officials say this is the...
Oh my gosh, 4 engines on the back. Oh boy, that's worse than I thought.
Boat that matches the description given by eyewitnesses.
Now, despite the break in the case, there are still so many...
With that truck.
By eyewitnesses.
Now, despite the break in the case, there are still so many questions regarding exactly what happened out on the water.
And NBC6 reporter Lorena Inclán is live from Key Biscayne with the latest on this investigation. And Lorena, the boat was found at a private home in the Hammock Oaks neighborhood of Coral Gables.
Jackie, and also the owner of that vessel has been identified, but the name has not been...
Whoa, they didn't come forward. They just located the boat? What? Hold on. Does anybody know for sure? Did the people turn themselves in? Did the people turn themselves in and then... Oh my gosh, what the hell is this? YouTuber ran over pedestrian while live streaming? What the hell? Sorry. I just seen that come across. Shit, I just lost my train of thought now. Oh yeah, those wakes are huge. When we were out on Narc Diver's boat. When we were out on Narc Diver's boat, those boats drove by, and them things, you have to drive into the wake. Otherwise, that's why one of the times out there, I was wet from like the lower part of my chest, stomach area, all the way down. I was wet because we got wet one time because of the wake rocking it. We're lucky we didn't take on a bunch of water. But how would they know? How would they know if they're not from there? Were they from there?
Been released.
But also, I want to know, did these people turn themselves in? Because it sounds like they located the boat. That means they didn't turn themselves in.
And NBC6 reporter Lorena Inclán is live from Key Biscayne with the latest on this investigation. And Lorena, the boat was found at a private home in the Hammock Oaks neighborhood of Coral Gables.
Jackie, and also the owner of that vessel has been identified, but the name has not been released. But as you mentioned, that boat now identified, being described as a boat of interest by the FWC. And we want to show you the latest video of that boat as it's being transported to an FWC facility for further inspection. You can see there multiple law enforcement vehicles escorting that boat.
Why is it not covered up? What the hell? Boat of interest, why is it not covered up? You're going on a highway, yo. Why wouldn't you cover up the boat? Especially the propellers. Put some fucking garbage bags around them or something. Right? Oh, hell no, not even the propellers.
In video obtained by Chopper 6, you can see what the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is calling the boat of interest in the hit-and-run case that killed Ella Adler on May 11th.
FWC officers have identified a boat fitting the description of the vessel that struck Ella Adler. The boat is in our custody and its owner is cooperating.
NBC6 also obtained this cell phone video of the vessel being driven away and escorted by 2 law enforcement vessels. The tragedy unfolding Saturday around 4:30 p.m. Investigators say Ella was being towed behind this gray vessel while water skiing near Nixon Beach when she fell back into the water. It was then that another vessel struck her and kept going. The investigation taking a significant step forward, but questions remain. Like, did the boater know they had hit someone, or were they unaware? And does the boat towing Ella bear any responsibility?
FWC and our partner law enforcement agencies will not stop until we have all the answers and the case is solved.
Ella was laid to rest Monday in Miami Beach before hundreds of mourners.
Special little girl. She is a great dancer. My daughter's best friend. Tremendous loss. She had such a bright future. Very sad.
The outpouring of support and tributes to Ella's short but impactful life being felt across South Florida. Her obituary says she had a way of making each of her friends feel special. While today's update won't bring her back, it may be the start in helping to answer those burning questions.
Wow. That's so sad. Makes no sense. Yeah, this just came across. We're gonna check this out tonight because we're just night in true crime, and then we'll get to some Micah Miller stuff next. Especially the conversation with the dad. I do want to watch that. Check this out though. YouTuber ran over pedestrian while live streaming. What the hell?
Oh my God, are you okay? I didn't see her.
Is this a case of distracted driving? A woman live streaming on YouTube apparently runs over a pedestrian and keeps streaming. We're taking a closer look at the collision and an apparent lack of consequences with Beverly Hills attorney Mitra Hurrian and California Police Sergeant Kyle Schoberg. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, so we don't have a ton of information about this, but I will tell you what we do have is very interesting. A woman known online as Vegan Patriot, or VP, is taking a lot of heat after she appears to run over a pedestrian while she's out driving in Los Angeles.
Yeah, if you run over somebody while you're doing this shit, you're in the wrong occupation. What the hell?
California. Now,
What
so
the
far,
hell?
again, we haven't been able to even confirm
What the
VP's
hell?
actual identity. But what we do have are some accounts of her live streams. And in her live streams, VP often smokes cannabis. She's allegedly doing just that before this collision. She's since removed the live stream containing the actual incident. But as you know, once something is online, it is there forever. So let's take a look.
He does hear those voices. They're not fake, but I wonder.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna put this up there for a second because they're not gonna edit this out whatsoever. So just hit mute if you don't want to hear this, okay? Just hit mute. Detective, I think you might be. YouTube is still being buggy, so you guys, I know I see some comments about the previous topic. You might be YouTube's still acting buggy. I would just back out, close out, come back in, so you're refreshed. And if you don't want to hear this, because they're not going to mute it, warning. Graphic sound is coming up. Yikes.
Stream containing the actual incident. But as you know, once something is online, it is there forever. So let's take a look.
He does hear those voices. They're not fake, but I wonder. Oh my God, are you okay? No. I didn't see her. Why are you not looking? I was looking. I didn't see you. What the I'm telling you, I did not see you. Okay, what the Just tell me how I can help. Well, I don't know. Okay. Okay. Oh my God, you guys. I don't know what just happened, but it wasn't good.
So VP pulls over to the side of the road. She ends the live stream. But later that day, she's back with some updates.
All I'm going to say is I've been blessed, and I'm very grateful for choosing to not be a piece of today.
What?
Guys, I don't have a charge. I don't have a ticket. You know why? Because I literally wasn't a piece of
What?
And that's all I gotta say.
I wasn't.
It was really scary. And the sun was in my eyes, and you can go look at the stream. I was not even looking at chat. So, yep. Actually, the cop literally told me, he was like, literally comes up and claps me on the shoulder, and he goes, just so you know, I know how hard that was. He's like, do you know how many hit and runs we have out here?
So VP, she goes on to answer questions from people in that chat that you see on the side there. She says that the girl is fine, presumably the person that she allegedly hit. Doesn't really elaborate on that. She says multiple times that the sun was in her eyes, that she wasn't even looking at the live stream chat. She says it's okay if the victim sues her because she has insurance.
No, there wasn't an official report filed. You're not listening. She didn't have damages that were deep enough for an official report. She didn't want to press charges. And
It's because she didn't want to press.
what was the other?
It's because she didn't want to press charges. You fucked up. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You fucked up. Because I'm not a piece of shit. What the fuck?
It doesn't really elaborate on that. She says multiple times that the sun was in her eyes, that she wasn't even looking at the live stream chat. She says it's okay if the victim sues her because she has insurance.
No, there wasn't an official report filed. You're not listening. She didn't have damages that were deep enough for an official report.
The fuck you don't have that. You got hit by a damn car.
You want to press charges. And what was the other reason? There were 3 reasons. I don't know, but there's no report. Today, I realized that no matter how scared I am, I obviously didn't do those things I would be ashamed of doing, like driving off when a person could have been dying on the streets. Yeah.
What? VP then goes back, rewatches what happened on her earlier stream, and says that she is in shock. While people in the chat are the ones really in shock that she didn't seem to get in any kind of trouble for her actions. Well, let's talk about it. So I'm joined right now 2 special guests. I did that. It looks like I have 4, but I really have 2 special guests. Beverly Hills attorney Mitra Hurian, as well as Kyle Schoberg, sergeant with the Citrus Heights Police Department out in California, co-instructor of the Patrol Survival Tactics Seminar and host of the Shots Fired podcast. Great to have you both here. Mitra, I'll start with you. Are you surprised that there are no charges, that she wasn't arrested? You know, seemingly if you hit somebody, you'd be arrested, right?
Well, what an interesting world we live in, right? So years ago, everybody was sort of worried about Big Brother filming them doing everything, and now we're doing it to ourselves. So, yes, you know, caught on camera, so to speak, but it was a very interesting exchange between her and the pedestrian. The pedestrian sort of sounded more shocked than anything.
Because she didn't press charges.
And you do truly see her reaction, the driver's reaction, where she, you know, is saying things that are consistent with the story that she tells later about the sun being in her eyes. She really didn't see her. So the fact that she wasn't arrested, all that tells me is that there isn't probable cause. The tricky thing with DWI, driving under the influence of drugs, the tricky thing of that as compared with DUI, where we have, you know, first of all, vehicle code in California gives you the defined limit of what is over the limit, and that's 0.08 blood alcohol content. We don't have that with drugs. There's no level. There's no reliable testing. Marijuana stays in your system much longer. It could be, you could have smoked and, you know, up to 2 weeks, up to months. If you're a habitual smoker, it could stay in your system. It's notoriously one that stays in your system for a long time. How do you check the level? With alcohol, we have the field sobriety test. We have blood alcohol. We have breath.
So and this is a warning because it happens all the time. This is a warning to the people that walk across the street without looking both ways. You know what I'm talking about. They just keep walking. They don't even look no fucking direction, and they're lucky they don't. Listen, y'all that are trying to catch some kind of fucking lawsuit, that's why you're not looking around when you're crossing a road, because whether you have the right of way or not, there's people that are distracted behind a vehicle, and it's always best to wait a few seconds if you know somebody's not stopping. Man, to those people that don't look no more, it's a different world now. Shit, you can hit somebody and not get in trouble.
Breathalyzer,
wow.
All of those things, you know, while a defense attorney can really poke holes in it, there's relatively reliable, at least in terms of probable cause, and being able to, even if something is taken, you know, hours later at the police station, of course, Sergeant can speak to this more. We know certain things about how quickly alcohol leaves your system with some degree of certainty. We don't have that with marijuana. So
Yeah.
just to quickly answer your question, which I'm getting to, about, if I'm surprised, I'm not surprised because there isn't that reliable testing. And this happened hours after she smoked. And she seems to be somewhat cognizant, on the video. So if there's not enough there for probable cause, then I would not be surprised that the officer did not place her under arrest.
Yeah, Kyle, I'll throw it back to you. You heard Mitra talk about what some of the challenges could have been in understanding what substances were in her system or were not in her system. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so oftentimes in law enforcement, our role when we show up to a scene like that is to figure out, is the driver under the influence of either a controlled substance, drugs, marijuana, or alcohol, like she had stated. And unless that officer would have reasonable suspicion to believe that she was under the influence, he probably, in that type of circumstance, it didn't seem like maybe she was hurt that bad. Maybe obviously they didn't take a police report.
You got hit by a car.
Pretty accurate of a lot of agencies where they're not going to take police reports on minor traffic collisions unless there is an injury or someone's being transported to the hospital. But in this case, if the officer shows up, he's not seeing any signs of her being under the influence, then exactly what Mitra just stated, I'm not surprised that the officer didn't take her to jail or even take a report for that matter. Now, if you do suspect her to potentially be under the influence of either drugs or alcohol, then it would be the officer's responsibility to run her through a series of field sobriety tests. They are different. Drugs are different than alcohol. The tests are different. So in that case, if he were to determine if she's impaired, which that's all he would have to prove is that she's impaired and she was involved in this collision, she then could be placed under arrest, taken back to the police station. If you assume that it was drugs, they would then take her blood and she would be then booked in jail. And if there was any type of injury to this pedestrian that she struck and they determined her to be under the influence of drugs, that then would be a felony.
Hey, what does this story make clear? That injuries can happen out of nowhere when you least expect it. And that can be incredibly traumatic. It can be scary. But that is why I want to take a minute to call out our great partner and sponsor here.
Oh my gosh. This is crazy. Okay. That's enough of it. We got the gist. That is, what the fuck, dude? No sobriety. I don't know. All right. We're going to get into this Mica Miller stuff here for a little bit. Family of pastor's wife that passed away breaks silence. What else is he hiding? We're going to check out some of that. We're going to check out a couple other things. And then I'll leave it up to you after that with what we'll go to next. But this is the episode from Law and Crime Network. I think it was yesterday. I'm sure you've seen it. I haven't. There's a whole bunch of stuff I haven't seen of all this. I mean, there's just so much. It's just crazy. But the FBI joined, so shout out to them for hopping on this right away. All right, so this is the conversation with the dad. Let me see here. And he says she got it for personal protection. I don't know. It's all sketch, y'all.
She got the weapon for self-protection. She told me days beforehand, Dad, I really feel like I need a weapon for protection. And she knows how to use it.
A South Carolina church pastor is facing serious scrutiny after his wife's sudden death in a nearby state park. And as new details come to life about her final days, her husband is getting more and more attention. We're joined by Michael Francis, Mica's father, and her sister Sierra Francis to talk about the young woman's passing and where legal action might take them in the future. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Hey, everybody, this is a Law and Crime legal alert. Google Incognito tracked users' browsing data.
Okay, that's cool. Here we go.
It's now taken all sorts of twists and turns, and it has morphed into a story that has captivated the
crazy
nation.
so
We're talking
much
about 30-year-old Mica Miller, who was found dead at Lumber River State Park just across the state line in North Carolina on April 27th.
We're gonna go.
She
there.
reportedly purchased a gun in the days before her apparent suicide from a pawn shop. That Sunday, her husband, 44-year-old John Paul Miller, announced his wife's death during a recent service at the church where he's a pastor, Solid Rock Church in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And Miller announced, quote, "I got a call late last night that my wife has passed away. It was self-induced and it was up in North Carolina. You all pray for me and my kids and everybody. You all knew she wasn't well mentally and she needed medicine that was hard to get to her. I'm sure there will be more details to come, but keep her family in your prayers." And then Miller asked for people not to discuss his wife's death outside of the church. But as you can imagine, news spread like wildfire.
Hello.
And the woman's family has immediately become suspicious of this. Why? Well, John Paul Miller and his first wife, they divorced in 2015, and then he and Mica married in 2017. Mica's family says that John Paul, who's 14 years older than Mica, first met her when she was a member of his church youth group at age 14. Now, there have been accusations that he groomed her. Not totally clear what exactly that means, but we'll explore it. Now, Mica was also reportedly married previously to John Paul's friend, Jeremy. So you see these apparent connections. Okay, but now we fast forward, and it's our understanding, based on reporting, that Mica had filed for divorce from John Paul 6 months ago. It's also our understanding the divorce petition was withdrawn, but then a few days after that, John Paul filed for separate support and maintenance, financial support, because the couple were still legally married. Then Mica had also filed for separate support and maintenance. There was a scheduled hearing for next.
He's the freaking pastor. What does he mean? She had to pay him what?
Month. But of course, Mica died. Mica's family claims that in the days before her death, she filed for a no contact order. And I believe that she was still pursuing divorce against John Paul. Now, police and the medical examiner have ruled Mica's death a suicide. And one of the ways that they have ruled that is not only based on the forensic evidence at the scene, but a 911 phone call that was placed by Mica to law enforcement in North Carolina gives a lot of insight into her apparent state of mind. So I warn you, this is really tough to hear.
Robeson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Let me see. You don't know where you're at?
In National Park.
Tell me what's happened.
And I'm just going to mute it when it gets to that part. You've all heard this part. You can go listen to the real one. I'm not going to put it out there right now.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute.
We've now learned that the Robeson County Sheriff's Office is requesting that the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI investigate Mica's death. Whether the FBI is actually involved yet kind of remains unclear. It may be more of a jurisdictional issue about why they could be involved because of where she died on a state park out in North Carolina. But as I mentioned, Mica's family appears to be suspicious of all of this. And one of the things to know is that John Paul does have a criminal record. Research indicates that in 1998, Miller entered a no contest plea in Horry County, South Carolina, to a charge of assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature, meaning that Miller did great bodily injury to someone or likely was going to injure someone. He was given 500 hours of community service, was put on probation for several years, and a 4-year prison sentence was suspended. In 2022, South Carolina court records indicate that Miller was pardoned. In 2000, out in Illinois, he apparently pled guilty to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. In 2004, out in Illinois, it appears that Miller was charged with domestic battery, but the prosecutors seemed to decline to move forward with the case and were unable to find sentencing information for that case. Now, in one of her final posts on Facebook, Mica uploaded a selfie, and she uploaded the selfie with the caption, "When terrible, terrible, terrible things happen to you, you all know what I'm talking about. RPF, resting peace face." She included the hashtags still blessed and God is good. She also been posting videos on her social media talking about leaving abusive situations.
It doesn't matter what gender you are. Abuse is abuse. And you are the bride of Christ. And my Bible says that he took all the abuse you could think of for you so that you didn't have to live that life of slavery and bondage and pain.
According to a friend, Mica had left for a different church other than Solid Rock. John Paul gave an interesting, perhaps the best word to describe it is an arguably strange eulogy, different eulogy at the Solid Rock Church, while family members held a different memorial service at the beach.
She'd get tourists to take our picture, and I say, okay, thank you. She said, oh, no, this isn't good. Give it back to them, and they do it again, you know. But she told me that she was so creative. Everything she did was so creative. What's the next picture? What's the next picture? She'd stop. We'd be on the way to like a show or something. She said, stop, I gotta get a picture. I said, we're gonna be late. She said, I don't care. What's the next picture? Next picture.
John Paul also said that he wanted so badly for her to be alive that he repeatedly tried to see her body and even tried to raise her from the dead. There were reports that Reverend Charles Randall fired Miller as Solid Rock's pastor, but Randall disputed that during a recent sermon, saying, quote, I have released him from ministerial functions for a minute to get some healing and some counseling and some guidance. You can't go through these things like this and just step right back on the same day. Family and friends have started using the hashtag Justice for Mica. Now, it's our understanding Mica's sister Sierra, who we're going to be speaking with in a minute, has filed a legal claim against both Miller and the church in connection with Mica's death. Court documents filed in Horry County Family Court accuse Solid Rock Church of colluding and conspiring with John Paul to defraud and deprive Mica. The Daily Mail also reported that Mica contacted the Myrtle Beach Police Department on April 8th, just weeks before her death, to report that she had seen a lewd photo of herself in a Facebook group and believed her estranged husband, John Paul Miller, had posted it. Well, after her death, Miller admitted that he did post the photo. In a letter obtained by News Nation, seemingly addressed to Mica, it reads, quote, I'm sorry for putting a picture of you on the internet. It was for less than 1 hour and immediately taken down. I was hurt that you were telling everyone horrible, intimate details of my past sin, and I just wanted to try and hurt you. Please forgive me. It was evil of me to do that. Mica had also reported back in March that she found a tracking device on her car at least twice and said that John Paul had her involuntarily committed to a hospital and stole her car while she was gone. Now, in a statement, John Paul Miller's lawyer, Russell Long, said, quote, it has come to light that Mica Miller struggled with mental illness, specifically bipolar disorder, which when not properly managed led to paranoid episodes and self-destructive behavior. Some reports made by her in the recent past are nonsensical. He also added that a ruling of suicide by law enforcement completely exonerates Pastor Miller of any wrongdoing. Well, I am joined right now by Mica's father, Michael Francis. Thank you so much for coming on. And before...
Probably just crying for damn help, you know? Oh, they're just acting out. No, they're crying for fucking help.
Before we even get started, I just have to say I am so sorry for your loss, your family's loss. And as I mentioned to you before we started recording, I know this can't be easy talking about this and having this amplified and everybody speaking about it. So I know this must be a very difficult time. So my heart goes out to you and your family, and really appreciate you taking the time to come here and talk a little bit more about it.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to start off. How are you and the family doing right now?
Why do they start
we're
off
struggling?
With that question?
You know, we're more united than ever as a family. You know, this is something that has really caused us to drop any little petty arguments or something and focus on what's the important at this moment. So, you know, we have grieved off and on, but we've also been in fight mode off and on as far as legally and, you know, and speaking out for Mica.
Let's talk about that because, and I want to be very clear here. Despite the findings from law enforcement that Mica had died by her own hand, that the sheriff's office saying John Paul was not in Robeson County when Mica died. Do you believe there is more to the story? Correct?
Yes, it's there's a lot of details that they did
Yeah.
not cover, and because it was equivalent in their eyes to previous self-inflicted wounds, I believe the law allows them to do less work. It does not prevent them from doing more work. And since there were multiple shell casings found and a live round found, it already didn't make much sense. So it would seem that they would automatically do a complete toxicology, not just blood alcohol, and a complete autopsy, which they did not do. And we're just devastated that they didn't, because John Paul rushed the cremation process. So
multiple cases.
Like during the briefing, we pressed pretty hard for more information and such, and the sheriff's office was trying to compress the briefing for us, and then they gave us a flash drive. It doesn't sound like Mica during the 911 call. She's so slow and so, but then later there are, I haven't even heard them myself, honestly. I have someone who's going through all that for me and filtering the information, because otherwise the more information I get that sounds off, the more furious I get, and I need to be able to focus and control my emotions. So but there was screaming going on and such, and that's not something indicative of a self-inflicted.
Right.
That's sounds like a fight. And with the bruising on her hands and on her arm, scratches on her hands, indicating defensive wounds. So very frustrating.
When you say defensive wounds, is that something that was told to you by a medical professional when you talked about multiple casings there? Where did you get this information? And when you brought this information to law enforcement or brought it or mentioned to them, what did they say?
Okay, as far as finding out, the park ranger took us back to the scene and pointed out, here's where she would have been standing. Here's where the shell casings and the live round were, which also doesn't make sense. She knew how to use a weapon. She got the weapon for self-protection. She told me days beforehand, Dad, I really feel like I need a weapon for protection. And she knows how to use it. She's qualified. She's been through training. She's not going to charge the weapon and eject a live round. She already knows the first rule of gun, use is knowing the condition of the gun.
Right.
So we got the information about the shells. I did it directly from the park ranger. And then when we brought that up to law enforcement, they just said, well, they had no answer. They really just had no answer why, any kind of, not even a speculation. They didn't even say.
Whoa, park rangers, so they don't have the police come to the park? Like park rangers have experience in crime scenes? I don't know. Do park rangers have to learn? Do they have to have experience in crime scenes in gathering evidence? Why wouldn't the police come out there that investigate crime scenes or a scene of a tragedy? They let the park rangers handle it? That's interesting. The park ranger collected the rounds, the casings. That's weird.
Well, she probably did this, probably did that. They just said, this is what we have. And there is what would be an apparent bullet hole in a tree, which I have a picture of.
Oh, wow.
And they just didn't seem to put the effort forth. So we were very disappointed in that.
And the defensive wounds, was that from the park ranger too?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we looked at her hands during the viewing. We took pictures of her from the viewing. It was the worst day of my life. And She
From
had
the
scratches on
viewing.
her arms, and I mean on her hand. And the coroner in training had the chief coroner with her, but she spoke out and said, "Well, maybe that's from when they retrieved her from the water." And I said,
What?
"Okay, of course,
No,
maybe."
no,
So you
no.
know, was
I'm sorry, you don't bruise after you pass. No, your blood's not moving anymore. Your blood is not moving anymore. You don't bruise after you pass. What the hell?
there blood in those scratches and such? They had no answer.
What the
Very
hell?
disappointing. So I basically said the scratches indicate some type of scuffle or something, because the area where she was, there was no trees or anything anyway. There was no trees in the water. There was nothing there that would have scratched her hands the way they were. I mean, like this. You know?
Whoa, on her hands.
You know, it showed
Scratches on her hands,
indicated
too?
that there was, you know, some type of pressure.
What?
You know, that's where the bruise was, and just, you know.
Well, Michael, here's the thing. And I hate to ask you this, and I know it must be difficult to revisit it, but when you mentioned the 911 phone call, when that came out, I think a lot of people who were suspecting there might be something there, they were convinced that that was the end of the story. When you mentioned that 911 phone call, you said there's something about the way that Mica sounded on the phone that sounded odd to you. What do you mean by that?
Absolutely. Very slow speech. She's a very happy-go-lucky, excitable person. And it was too slow. It was very slow. It was metered. It could have been done with an AI type of previous recordings where somebody would have had those words from her previously, or, you know, whatever. And so it just doesn't make sense that he would go up there.
Do you have a theory as to what happened? Because authorities are saying, you know, they crossed out his alibi of where he was. Do you have a theory as to what happened? And again, I know this is sensitive, so if you don't want to share it, I understand. But do you have a theory as to what you believe happened to your daughter?
Okay, well, I'll share what we spoke to about with the authorities, the sheriff in North Carolina. Also, as far as with his location, we've seen pictures of his truck. It had dark windows. Was it even him in there? Where's pictures of him physically there? We haven't seen those. They have not been produced. If someone else has them, we would like to see them to prove that he was there, because otherwise it could be anybody in that truck. So the theory would be that because she had multiple tracking devices put on her car previously, that she was followed out to the park or forced to go out to the park, and they either follow her out there, or there's no reason for her to go out there. That's the main point as well. She's never been out there. We don't go up there. It's not a family spot, and she was off the trail enough into a park ranger only area that nobody knows about. And so the theory would be that she was either tracked, and then they said, well, we didn't find a tracking device. Well, they could have removed it at the park. When the car was at the park, and then it was collected by the authorities, they didn't check for a tracker, which blew my mind. They said, oh, we have all the evidence and everything. We asked them, was there a tracker on her car? And they said, well, we didn't check. And we were flabbergasted. This happened over and over during that interview. Why didn't you check that? We know that there was 3 or 4 trackers put on her vehicles. Why wouldn't you check to see if she was followed? They said, oh, there's no cameras, but we know she wasn't followed. Her car is just out here. And I said, well, there's no trackers. They said no tracker. I said, well, they could have removed it after they did the deed. So then Mica's mother, Angelita, she said, pretend this is Mica's hand. And she asked me, grab this hand. And then she pulled it up, and said, it looks like someone squeezed her hand and raised it up and shot. And there are defensive wounds from it and such. And That's the general idea of our theory, that somebody crushed her hand to hold the gun up to her head while she's fighting. Either them or someone else held her other hand or her other arm back because there's bruising on it from squeezing, and they forced it to look like that was self-inflicted. And a couple of rounds went off during the scuffle. One ejected was live, and then it finally happened the way they would want it to happen. And then dumped her in the water, probably 40 meters away from where the shell casings in the gun was found.
What?
The water doesn't flow there. It's a slough.
What?
It's still. It just sinks. And it actually flows when it's
40 yards? 40 yards. What the hell? What the hell? We're gonna go there too. What the hell?
sinks when it recesses, it goes the other direction from where
What
she
the
was found.
hell?
So her body, even if it was put in the water
40
right there,
yards.
would not have flowed the direction where she was found. It would flow the other way. So it would be possible that the incident occurred right there, and the shell casings, and then the gun was dumped in the water right there, and then she was carried farther 40 meters back into a little bit more secluded area.
Wow.
Where she was
That
found.
is
So Sierra Francis now
that's a
joins the
long
conversation. This is Mica's sister. Sierra, thank you so much for coming on. As I told your father, I just want to say again, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry for what you and your family are going through. Our hearts go out to you guys. And again, really appreciate you taking the time and being so generous with your time to come on and talk a little bit more about this. So I've already spoken to your father a lot about what you guys believe might have happened here. I want to talk to you about this legal claim that you have filed against Mr. Miller and the church. Walk us through what that claim is and what you're hoping to get from that.
As far as the legal side of things, I don't have perfect details of everything. I'm just trying to pick up where Mica left off and make sure that justice is served and that we are able to remain over her estate and make sure that it is used or allotted in the way that she would have wanted it to.
Do you know anything about the FBI being a part of this investigation now? Were you told anything about that, what they might be looking into?
So we are aware that Robeson County did come out and say that the FBI is involved, but as far as what they're investigating and the extent of their involvement, the family's not sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
they can't say.
I wanted to ask you this, both of you this.
They can't say. The FBI is going to be involved, but they're not going to let anybody know. And there will be press conferences if they do, trust me. But honestly, you're probably not going to hear nothing unless it's little tidbits about, the process. But they're not going to say much.
So look, the main argument, and it's being put forward by Mr. Miller, and what we've seen is Mica, they say, had suffered from mental illness. Do you know anything about that? Anything you could tell us about that? Because one of the things that Mr. Miller has said is he had this power of attorney set up for that reason. What can you tell us about what Mica might have been going through?
So before Mica married John Paul, she had no signs, no history, no indications of mental illness at all.
And why did she presumably agree to a power of attorney? Usually the person who sets up would have to agree to it and sign to it.
He had every way to control her, and he was very good at manipulating the situation.
And she thought that he would be doing the right thing. She wanted to trust that Mr. Miller Jr. was actually doing the right thing for them until she got away from him and had more time when she spent more time with us. To peel off some of those layers and realize what was going on.
Right.
And then she started becoming herself again and got a job and everything else and was doing fine and was happy-go-lucky self again, excited about the future, and which is something he did not like. Just very terrible.
There are these allegations that he groomed her. What do we mean by that?
He had his sights set on her from a very young age. I would guess probably 14 years old, 14 or 15 when we first came to the church. And he made sure that he kept her exactly where he wanted her to the point of who she married, what job she picked up after she was, 18. He got her married, and then he made her his secretary and his babysitter and his let's go to lunch person, and oh, you're so beautiful.
And then when she was married, same thing, best friends with her husband, her previous husband, and manipulated the situation where he could have him doing something because he was his right-hand man, and then spend time with Mica alone, which is very inappropriate.
And to be clear about that, are you alleging that he engaged in criminal contact with Mica? And if so, again, my understanding is there's no time bar in South Carolina to bring charges. Is this something that you're speaking with about authorities with?
I don't think he physically had a relationship with her until after she had already been married to Jeremy.
I wanted to ask you about something else. And this goes back to that idea of why he says, and correct me if I'm wrong, why he says he had to set up the power of attorney. He was concerned about whether Mica would be taking money, because there was this allegation that Mica was a suspect in the theft of $1,200 in donations for the Solid Rock, this missionary efforts. I understand you want to clear the record up on that.
That was investigated. I have seen, police excerpts on that, and from what I've seen, to best of my knowledge, it said that that was just a domestic dispute, and there was no criminal charges to be filed.
Okay. And also, as far as the amount that was mentioned, Mica was having trouble with the websites releasing the money to her from the donations,
such as Venmo or stuff like that.
Right. They were holding on to those funds, as they do, for like the 3-day period or whatever, gaining interest.
Right.
And so during that period where the money didn't show up yet, he was accusing her of stealing that money. And then after the fact, after she's passed, all the money showed back in except 1 penny.
Not to mention that money wasn't money that was donated and she was stealing it. This money was, hey, I've put $600 out of my pocket with the intention of, hey, I will be reimbursed from this, because that's what she was told. Hey, spend your $600 to purchase, all the donuts that you're using for fundraising. It's a charity. We'll make sure we reimburse you. So it's not even stealing. It's reimbursement for what she's already put into.
Right.
And before I let you go, I have to ask you about this letter that came out that he had seemingly apologized to Mica for what he said was releasing a nude photograph of her on the internet. What was your reaction to that letter?
He's a faker.
Yeah.
He likes to band-aid everything so he can still control and manipulate people.
I told him straight up, because of his behavior before, okay, now go ahead and go cry in front of your church and apologize like you always do. Mm-hmm. And he didn't during the sermon and his bombshell drop at the last point. He didn't do his fake sniveling, crying, fake stuff. He just, until later, but he would numerous times, he would go in front of the church and say, I'm sorry, I did this and I did that. I'm sorry. If you don't want me to be the pastor, I'll leave. And they would say, oh, no, you do such a great job. And then it would happen again and again.
Right.
And if they did stand up against him, he would threaten them with removing them from the church, or he would just straight out remove them in front of everybody. And then later in sermons said, oh, well, they just left for no reason. I don't know why they left.
Michael Sierra.
I don't know anything that comes out of his mouth. It's all backwards.
Well, Michael Sierra, here's what I wanted to ask you. This is going to be an ongoing discussion. And I was hoping, and first of all, thank you for being so forthcoming to come on to explain this.
No, I think it's her sister, Detective.
Your perspective on what's happening as this progresses. Can we keep an open line, and can you come back on and let us know any updates that are happening on your end? We would really appreciate it, because I think a lot of people have questions about this.
Sure. As long as our attorneys are in agreement and such, and we will keep it open, and most likely that will be us.
Okay, so listen, again, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate this. And again, my heart goes out to you and your family about this loss, and I'm so sorry for what you're going through. But again, really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. That's sad. Yeah, Katrina, this is all it's given me. It shows this, and then it just goes to this. So I don't know what's up with that. Let me know if anybody. Maybe it might be private now. Maybe. Maybe it might be private. I don't know. Let's get to the fisherman. I know people had questions about what the fisherman said. So we're going to go to that video. Let me find it. Give me 1 second. I believe it's a local TV station. Yes, right here. Here it is right here. Let me rewind it. Did they take it away? Oh, hold on. I actually have to go to like the specific video. Come on. Because it has like a... Hold on. It's because it has like a... Come on, YouTube. Come on, YouTube. I just want to go to the specific video here. It's not showing it. When it's part of a playlist, it just... Hold on. Let me see here. Okay, I'll just click share, copy, then go to the specific freaking video. Yes, I wish they'd let you have permission, you know, normally. All right, here we go. This is the fisherman who heard. Okay.
With continuing coverage on the death of Mica Miller, the estranged wife of John Paul Miller, former pastor at the Solid Rock Church in Myrtle Beach. This week, the Robeson County Sheriff's Office, they released a timeline of what happened the day Mica died by a self-inflicted gunshot wound at the Lumber River State Park. Now, tonight, the man who reported hearing Mica crying and the sound of a gunshot at that state park is sharing how his character is now under attack. He says it's destroying his life, and he wants the baseless attacks that he's seeing on social media to stop. He talked with ABC 15's Tanya Brown. She joins us now live from the Robeson County Sheriff's Office in Lumberton.
Andrew, the fisherman says he never thought fully cooperating with the police investigation and telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth would lead to him being unfairly targeted on social media. I met 55-year-old Johnny Jacobs today at an undisclosed location in Robeson County. He didn't want me to show his face because he's concerned for his safety after being bashed and targeted on social media.
It's like putting my life in danger with some of the things that's been said.
Jacobs tells me he'd been fishing for several hours on April 27th at the Lumber River State Park when he heard a faint cry. He says 2 or 3 minutes later, he heard a gunshot.
I said, oh my God, don't tell me, because the crying had stopped.
2 or 3 minutes later. Here, if you guys want the, this is, let me see. This is from 2 days ago. Here's the link if you want it. Speaking of tornadoes, I want to type this up there. Speaking of tornadoes, Tiffany, I want to say we now have Radar Omega for your safety. If there is current harmful weather and you want an update displayed on the show, just ask me, okay? Because it's all about your safety. We now have Radar Omega for you. Yeah, this is from 2 days ago. Said a few minutes, heard a faint cry, and then a couple minutes
He's
later.
concerned for his safety after being bashed and targeted on social media.
It's like putting my life in danger with some of the things that's been said.
Jacobs tells me he'd been fishing for several hours on April 27th at the Lumber River State Park when he heard a faint cry. He says 2 or 3 minutes later, he heard a gunshot.
2 or 3.
I said, oh my God, don't tell me, because the crying had stopped. I said, don't tell me something's happened. Don't tell me something. I was getting ready to get out of there. Another 3 people came into the lake on a boat, and I plainly asked them, I said, did y'all hear that gunshot? They said yes.
Jacob says he couldn't see anything.
Another 2 or 3 people came up and they heard it too.
Crying had stopped. I said, don't tell me something's happened. Don't tell me something. I was getting ready to get out of there.
Not a cry, crying.
Don't tell me, because the crying had stopped.
Crying.
I said, don't tell me something's happened. Don't tell me something. I was getting ready to get out of there. Another 3 people came into the lake on a boat, and I plainly asked them, I said, did y'all hear that gunshot? They said yes.
They said
Jacob says he couldn't see anything because of all the trees blocking his view.
This here's the park, of course. This is where I put my boat in at.
He showed me a map on his phone of the Lumber River State Park to better show his location on the river that day.
You see how thick the woods are? That's why I couldn't see nothing. So right along in here is where I found Mica's belongings at.
Whoa.
He says he found Mica's backpack, glasses, and cell phone on the bank and gave them all to deputies on scene. He says he didn't know Mica and has no reason to lie to police. Johnny Jacobs wants the unfair targeting against him to end.
I want this to stop as far as me. I don't want to make this all about me because I'm still thinking about Mica. I'm trying to respect her family. And I got total respect for them, and I am so sorry for what they're going through. I never thought my day would turn out like that.
Wow.
The Robeson County medical examiner has also been bashed on social media for how he ruled Mica's death as a suicide. Now, the North Carolina State Medical Examiner's Office, I reached out to them today to get information on if an autopsy was done on Mica's body, and I am still waiting to learn that answer. Live in Lumberton, Tanya Brown, ABC 15 News.
Wow. That's crazy. 2 or 3 people on a boat also heard the shot. Who's the 2 or 3 people? This is crazy. And then he said cry, but then he said cry, and then the crying stopped. The crying stopped. What? I don't have TikTok but I'm going to share this with you guys. Thank you, Caddy. This was her testimony, Mica Miller's testimony while she was in Africa. Here's the link to that, and we're going to check this out real quick. Let me see here.
I'm about to share a video that is supposed to be Mica Miller's testimony that she gave while in Africa. All that has been shared from this video is like a 35-second clip. Anyone knows where to find the entire video, please let me know. And it was so bad. I tried to myself. I put it in my head. And I pulled the trigger. And the bullet got caught and that was God. This was also a post that one of her friends made on Facebook. I talked to her multiple times in her final week here on Earth. She was making plans to get her hair cut, getting help with her car payment because she was a little short after paying her divorce lawyer, and planning to meet us for the second service at church on Sunday. My final text with her on Friday at 9:19 p.m. was a woman making plans to live. What happened between Friday night and Saturday?
Whoa. Again, I don't have TikTok. Here's the link for it. You can click on it and watch it on your browser. Whoa. This is just all sorts of crazy. Give me 1 second here. YouTube changed up their playlist the way they do it, and totally throws all my organization out the window with how they do it. I wanted to play this. This was from a day ago. This is from, again, the local TV station, ABC station, discussing the timeline of events. And again, warning, as always, because it's probably going to keep coming up. That's crazy. Actually saying that.
Sunday, October 8, 2023. Mica Miller and her husband, John Paul Miller, a pastor from Solid Rock Church, filed for divorce. They were married back in 2017. Mica's friend said she had led the women's ministry and worship team at the same church. Thursday, February 8, 2024. Mica's involuntarily hospitalized for 48 hours. Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. Mica calls police and alleges her ex-husband stole her car while she was hospitalized. She tells the officer she has known her husband since she was 10 years old and that he, quote, groomed her, end quote, while she worked for him at Solid Rock Church until they were wed in 2017. John Paul tells the cops his wife suffers from, quote, episodes, end quote. Since the car is marital property, no charges were filed. Monday, March 11, 2024. 2 incidents are filed with authorities naming Mica as a victim. She calls the police after finding her tire slashed with a piece of metal. It was later identified as a tire deflation device available for purchase online. Mechanics then find a GPS device attached to her car. Wednesday, March 13, 2024. Someone at Solid Rock Church files a police report alleging Mica transferred donation funds from the church's Zelle and Cash App accounts to her personal account. Mica leaves her apartment in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, shortly after noon and heads to a pawn shop to buy a gun. 12:34 p.m. Mica leaves the pawn shop and travels on a highway, stopping at a gas station to buy gas and a drink. She heads toward North Carolina. 2:54 p.m. After about an hour and a half, Mica calls 911 from a park over the state line about 33 miles away from the gas station and says she plans to end her own life.
Tell me what's happened.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
3:03 p.m. Deputies with the sheriff's office head to Lumber River State Park, contact the park rangers, and begin a search within 30 minutes. Specialized units searching for Mica from the air are deployed. 3:50 p.m. Detectives are approached by someone fishing in the area who says they heard crying followed by a gunshot. They also found a bag a few feet from the water's edge with Mica's ID inside of it. 4:23 p.m. A kayaker in the area calls 911 to report a body in the water. A perimeter is created to secure the area for an investigation. Within the hour, the chief of detectives arrives and the medical examiner is called. 5:54 p.m. Crime scene investigation technician begins taking photos of the area, and they found Mica's car. Inside the car, investigators found a gun case in the passenger seat and ammunition in the center console. The receipt for the weapon and her gas station stop are found. 7:11 p.m. A gun is discovered in the water at the park. Its serial number matches the case found in Mica's car. Tuesday, May 2nd, 2024. John Paul Miller sits down with WPDE for an interview. During the interview, he mentioned some of the struggles he thought Mica had with mental health.
So over the years since we've been married, some people struggle with high blood pressure, some struggle with diabetes, or struggle with mental health. And whenever she stayed on her lithium, things were amazing. She'd come off sometimes and things would be a little unusual. Per her doctors, they told her even just recently they had written that she was homicidal, suicidal, and she had struggled with suicide.
Why the lack of eye contact, yo? There's a lot of lack of eye contact there.
before. And each time, helped her through it, took her to her doctor, and we got through it, and everything was fine. So this past time was still a shock, an incredible shock.
Where's
Sunday,
the eye
May 5th,
contact?
2024. Friends and family rally outside Solid Rock Church.
Where's the eye
Some in
contact?
Mica's family dispute the manner of death described by her estranged husband.
This has to be at least looked into deeply. There's got to be some accountability here because, it's a tragic life was lost, and it's not just as simple as somebody had some mental issues.
A memorial service honoring her life followed the rally. Monday, May 6, 2024. The medical examiner releases Mica's cause of death. They conclude that she died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Mica's family meets with deputies about the investigation. John Paul asked the sheriff's office to meet with him in South Carolina. The investigation team said they did not plan to cross the state lines. Wednesday, May 8, 2024. Public records requested by WPDE are released, detailing the events leading up to Mica's suicide.
Wow. And I'm just going to go ahead and mute that music. Wow. And I'll leave that up there. Whoa. There's so much more stuff I didn't even know. Wow. Yeah, we're going to be getting into this. Just like in the other cases, I'm going to do like the routes and the locations and things like that. And then the way that the fishermen, this was a great timeline video. One of the best I've ever seen. Here's the link to it again. Wow. So suspicious. Let me see. There's there was a Nancy Grace, I thought. Hold on. The memorial service. We'll get into that in another show, but I do want to watch that with you guys. Let me see here. I suppose we could. Do you guys want... Let me see. It'll probably take up the rest of the show. Do you guys want me to... Do you guys want me to play the memorial service tonight? Or do you guys want me to wait for another night and we can get into another topic? Let me know. This is crazy. Most info I have on the case so far. I don't know anything about lithium. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. Let me see something here. We went through that video. Oh, yeah, there was a friend that talked about her too. I mean, there's so much. Yeah, Nancy Grace. There's so much. I mean, it's up to you guys. We got about another 45 minutes or so. And we can either change it to Riley Strain, Idaho 4, or we could watch the service. This was John Paul Miller's memorial service for his late wife, Mica Miller. I haven't seen it yet, but we can play it on a different show if you want. Yeah, we did at the beginning of the show, Sarah. Crazy conversation. Learned a lot. Yeah, we checked that out in the beginning. Yeah, why not? We'll go ahead and watch this. I gotta check this out. Let's see here. This is from Fitz News. Oh, the fake shit. The fake shit. Fitz News. We're going to be watching Fitz News. And this is the memorial service. And I was like, it like skipped halfway through it and I could hear him fake crying. Speculation. Because you all heard what's taking place. Let's check this out.
God bless you. We welcome you to a celebration.
And here, I'm going to go ahead and take a minute to pause. Here's the link to this episode, the video. Go drop a like on it real quick. It's going to take a minute to set up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a certain banner that will show this whole thing. So you got time. Go over there, hit the like button, and leave a comment. A little trophy or a heart or something. And let me get this credit thing pulled up here. All right, there we go. So you always got time to go hit that like over there. There we go. John Paul Miller's memorial service for his late wife, Mica Miller, at Fitz Tube. All right, here we go.
God bless
So
you.
sad. So sad.
We welcome you to a celebration of life for my little girl. I call her Sister Miller on today. And we came to celebrate. I know it's a time of sadness and we are missing someone very special, but we want to celebrate the life that she lived, okay? And I was close to that for a short period of time. And so we want to celebrate today. So I just want to start off with scripture and prayer. Then I'm going to share very briefly how she impacted my life. And I pray that it would be a blessing to you as well. Amen. I would like to read from First Thessalonians chapter 4, beginning at verse 13. It says, "But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that you sorrow not, as those that have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, so then also them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him when he come. For this we say unto you by the word of God, that we which are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain until the coming shall be caught up with them in the air to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we forever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort you one another with these words. Let us pray. Father God,
Give me 1 second. I apologize. This was from the beginning of the show. For some reason, StreamYard's been buggy too. StreamYard's been buggy. So is YouTube. These actually just showed up. So I want to say contribution call out Rosie from Jersey. Thank you for becoming a member. And I want to say also contribution call out Allison Faye. I know it's been more than a month. Thank you for everything that you do out there in that true crime community. I do apologize. Hopefully StreamYard and YouTube can get their shit together. They just popped up, so, but it says that they were from 6:53 and 6:54, so it was 2 hours ago. I want to say thank you, though, and I apologize. All right, let me see here.
in the name of Jesus, God, we thank you. We praise you, Lord, for this time. God, we thank you, oh God, for the time that you have allowed us to spend with Mica, Lord. God, we thank you, oh God, for the light that she brought into our life. God, we thank you for the way that you use her in this short time that she was here, oh God. God, I pray, oh God, that you strengthen the family and the church body, God, that have come to love her, oh God. Strengthen them today, oh God, and assure them that you will take them through this season. And we just thank you.
I'm not sure. Does it say? No, it doesn't say. I'm not sure who that is.
Oh God, we give you the glory, the honor, and the praise. We ask it in your son Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Now, I want to read one of the scriptures. I'm just talk very briefly on behalf of I call her my little girl. Amen. Amen. And over in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6, I have planted, Apollo watered, but God giveth the increase. And that's my little girl today. I had an opportunity in October. She traveled with me to Africa. And while there, she planted a seed. She planted a seed in that ministry in Africa. And she was so excited about that seed that she planted. When she came back to America, what it would usually take people many months to do to put together, she put it together in the matter of weeks, establishing a ministry in Africa, in Kenya, in Africa. And the scripture says one plant, one water, and God give the increase. And show you the effectiveness of what she planted, what God used her to plant. That seed has already been watered. For last Sunday, there was a team that have already been to Africa from this church to water that seed that she planted. And yes, even while the seed was being watered, God was given to the increase. And that's because of her. That's because of her. That's because of the passion. I wish I could have captured the passion that she had for what she was doing. She would always tell me she was always wanted to know more about the Bible. So she would say things to me. And when she would, I would say, Mica, give me a scripture. And that stuck in her memory bank, I guess. And anytime we talked on the phone after that, she'd say, Reverend Randall, give me scripture. And that's the way she was.
Randall.
But I thank God for allowing me to be a part of her life for the time that I was. And I want you to remember that because I have a question. That seed that she planted will forever grow. When they watered that seed 2 weeks ago in Africa, we was expecting about 100 children. and it ended up 300 children. And if you want to remember her that way. And I'll leave on this note. For her, that was the last part of her legacy. And the question is, what about you? What will your legacy say?
Just 2
She
weeks
has
before.
one. I'm a witness to that she has a legacy that she planted. It has already begun to be watered, and God has already begun to give the increase. Because of her planting that seed, this church has a team that will be going back to Africa in September to actually establish a school because of the seed that was planted. So even though I know our hearts are heavy and we are sorry, may you find comfort. Maybe you find comfort in the fact that you knowing she has planted, and what she has planted will forever live.
Wow, just 2 weeks. Oh boy, here we go.
I've been speaking for many years, and for the first time, I don't really know exactly, how to open or how to close or any of that. I'm just, everyone knew how beautiful she was on the outside, but only I think a spouse knows how beautiful that person is on the inside. So I want to take a few minutes to just kind of tell some stories and just share some things about Mica that may, I don't know, shock you or help you get to know the more intimate side of her. She was beautiful on the outside. She had won so many beauty pageants, all when she was young, and I have one of her trophies here where she won Saucus the Idol. Let me tell you, just to talk about how pretty she was on the outside. When she went to one school, she won the Miss whatever the school was beauty pageant, and then her family moved and she went to another school and she won the Miss Beauty pageant for that school too. So it was the first time in that county's history that someone won, both the pageants. But it really hadn't hit me. I've gotten to spend as Christians, of course, we know she's not here and in heaven, and she's worshiping and enjoying, and probably hadn't even had time to look down here yet. But I got this lay next to her body and spent time with her body about 4 times this week, and each time it still didn't hit me. I thought she was going to wake up. I even tried to raise her from the dead one time this week, and that morning, actually, I went to the mall later. She had bought me this dog tag, and the chain broke, so I went to the mall to get it fixed. And I saw a female about 20, 30 feet in front of me, and she was wearing one of Mica's dresses. And she had the same tattoo Mica has on her arm and the exact same hair. And out of just instinct, I screamed, "Mica!"
Oh, whatever.
And the girl turned around, and it was one of her sisters. And I thought I raised her from the dead. She's alive, But I can't wait to see her again one day. I'm good. So I have pictures, and I want to just tell you some stuff about her. When we fell in love, and we started dating, and it was time to get engaged, she loved public displays of affection. Like, she loved that. She always wanted me to hug her in public and stuff like that. And I'm more of a private person, but I thought, okay, we're going to get engaged. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it everything she wanted. So I set up a church baptism out on the beach so that everybody in church could be there, for us to get engaged and be a part of that. And then I had this plane that was going to fly by and have "Will you marry me?" Mica, there, and she's going to love that. And so everybody's kind of waiting. The baptism's over, and we're out there playing volleyball. And all of a sudden, the plane comes by, and I take Mica and I turn her around and I face her toward the ocean, face her toward the plane, and everybody's clapping and cheering. And she leaned back. She said, "Why is everybody cheering?" I said, the plane. And she said, "Oh, I don't have my contacts in." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, a playing this whole thing. I got a picture of that, I think, yeah, there. And I never forget, her exact words were, she said, she turned around, there's the plane up there. She couldn't see it till we took a picture later. Her exact words, I'll never forget, she said, well, yes, anyways, yes. And she had a hoarse voice that day from singing. And but she was always excited about stuff, always so excited. I'm sorry if I'm just rambling, but I'll do my best. She loved Solid Rock. She served this place for over a decade. Her time with Reverend Randall, I think is there a picture of her and Reverend Randall somewhere there? And Reverend Randall never gets his picture taken. So when she got this, she was so excited. She sent it to me. Said, "I got Reverend Randall's picture," and we had it blown up, and it's down here. She loved that. She was the worship leader, and she was bold and confident and anointed and passionate. And the very first time I worked with her on that, I said, "Okay, I'd like you to try to lead a song, and I'll help you." And I told her what I wanted her to do. About 3 minutes later, she's like, "No, you're doing it wrong. I'm going to tell you how we're going to do it." And she said, "You missed this note. You need to fix this." She did. I thought, "Oh, my goodness." And she was the graphic designer. I think it's a picture of some of the stuff she designed. Yep. She designed every logo we got, every book, everything we ever did. And she loved doing this stuff. And she would do it with such integrity to the T. Like, I would say, "Okay, it's good. We're done." She said, "Nope, it can be better." I said, "No, it can't be any better." And she'd fix the slightest, smallest thing and spend 6, 8, 10 hours doing that. She was in charge of women's ministry, youth ministry. She loved that. She was the go-to person around here if anything was kind of messed up or needed to be fixed or needed to be created. That was the thing she did. We spent almost every night just talking and chilling out. We didn't watch much TV. She would make me turn my cell phone off, and so I turned the cell phone off, and we would talk for hours and hours about. Well, let me rephrase it. She would talk for hours and hours and hours. And sometimes I would kind of not listen. I thought, "Oh no, is she going to ask me a question?" I'd get back in my mind to what we're talking about. And she would change subjects. She'd go from one thing to the next. And she had the idea that to buy a blow up mattress and put it in the back of the truck. And so we would do that. And she would make us hot chocolate in these in the coffee mug things that don't get cold. And we'd go park somewhere around here where there was no lights or no houses and just lay there and look at the stars and talk for hours. We probably did that hundreds of times over the past several years. We'd laugh a lot in the house. Our house was very loud. It was very loud, with kids and that such. Whatever room Mica was in, you could hear her in the whole house. She'd start singing about something or come up with an idea and everybody could hear. And one night we were going to bed. It was like midnight. And normally she falls asleep first, but I fell asleep first this night. And I don't know why I started talking in my sleep. And the sentence I was saying as I was talking in sleep, I said, "Why are you talking in your sleep, stupid?" And I did that. And then I woke up and she said, "Did you just say, why are you talking in your sleep? In your sleep?" I said, "I think I did." And she laughed so loud. We talked about that one thing for the next 3 hours till.
Yeah, she's probably like, "What in the hell were you trying not to talk in your sleep?" Right? Oh, I bet that was a conversation for a few hours. What do you? Why are you calling yourself a dumbass in your sleep for saying that you're talking in your sleep? What's going on? What's going on?
3 a.m. we were stayed up just talking about it. There was a time where for several months I got into those Pitch Perfect movies, the ones where the girls sing a cappella, and I thought Mica loved it. So we watched them like almost every night. We were watching a different Pitch Perfect, and we rewatched them.
Speculation.
And it shocked me, but after 15 times of watching the movies, one night she said, "I don't like any of these movies." And I said, "Baby, you don't?" I said, "Why didn't you tell me?" She said, "I knew you liked it, and I didn't want to, spoil the thing." I said, "You could have told me we'd watch something you wanted," but that meant a lot to me. What's the next? Oh yeah, there's designs. What's the next picture? Okay, so she loved to travel. I can't stand to travel, but she loved it. So we go wherever she wanted, and we went on a mission trip to Jamaica. It was like a 10-day mission trip, and we were in the jungles of Jamaica, and we're helping these other pastors and leaders. And there's churches that don't have ceilings and churches that are out in the woods. And it was so hot, like 110 degrees. We're sweating in everything we do. And after about 5 days, I said, "Honey, maybe we can just go home early. And, I know this is horrible. I'm so sorry that you came to me with this. I'm so sorry." She said, "Are you kidding?" She said, "I love this. This is great." I thought, oh my Lord. And she loved all the mission stuff, places where you had to use the bathroom in the woods or places where there was no air conditioning at all. She loved that kind of thing. Until towards the end of the trip on Jamaica, one of the pastor's wives pulled a mango out of a tree, and she had never had a mango before, and handed it to her, and she bit it. And here's what happened just a few minutes later after that. She's so up on the mission trip. Let's see, what's the next picture? Puerto Rico. So she loved Puerto Rico. She'd ride horse. She loved adventurous stuff. Like it was always something really adventurous. Riding a horse. What's the next one? Riding a four-wheeler out in the woods. What's the next one? Doing some kind of thing with the rope she wanted to do. And all these things scared me. All these things I would tell her, like, I don't think this is safe, honey. Like, I'm a lot older than you. I don't know if I should be doing this. What's the next picture? She wanted to do the candlelight thing out by the ocean. She loved that. She loved nature. She loved nature. So we went to Mexico. So my boys, the ones that were in college, they said, Dad, we're going to Cancun on spring break, with all of our college friends. I said, okay, have fun. Micah said, we should go. I said, I don't know if we should do college Cancun with all the college kids, but we did. And we were on a bus with all these college kids and going to do different things. And I'll tell you a great story about Mexico. One night, her and I, we were riding on a moped, just looking at everything around. And there was this hole in the wall, like looking nasty restaurant. And it said on there, tonight, karaoke. And I said, let's just check that place out. And we went in, man, it was packed. I mean, Mexicans everywhere you look, not a single white person, not a single black person, and none of them spoke English. We couldn't even order the food because everyone was Spanish. And they were up there singing karaoke, all Mexican songs. And I said, honey, go see if there's a song in English that you could sing. She said, I'm not doing that. I said, no, you'd be great. So I went up there and I signed her name. And I put that song Sunday morning. And next thing I know, in this place, I mean, it is packed. People are standing up. There's no seats. And they said in broken English, Mica, Milar, Sunday morning or something like that. And so she gets up there and as soon as she starts singing, the whole place just stops and does this. And I thought, oh no, she was right. They're not going to like her. As soon as they get to the chorus of Sunday morning, everyone in the restaurant stood up with their beers and started singing in broken English with her, the chorus of Sunday morning. When she got done, they all screamed trying to tell her to stay up there. So she sang another song. Then they wanted to stay there. She sang another song. She sang 5 songs in a row in English, and every one of them sang the songs with her. And that was a great memory. She loved that. What do we got after that? Disney. She loved traveling anywhere. And I said, put me in a wheelchair because I can't walk another foot. And she loved it. What's the next one up there? So any picture you see, it was her idea to take the picture. I'm not a picture guy. And if I'm in the picture, she would tell me how to stand, how to smile. If it wasn't good, she'd delete it and say, we're redoing it. She'd get tourists to take our picture. And I say, okay, thank you. She said, oh no, this isn't good. Give it back to them. And they do it again, But she told me she was so creative. Everything she did was so creative. What's the next picture? What's the next picture? She'd stop. We'd be on the way to like a show or something. She'd say, stop, I got to get a picture. I said, we're going to be late. She said, I don't care. What's the next picture? Next picture. So one of the things she did for me is I'm a comic guy, right? So this is things she did that was just out of the givingness of her. She dressed up like Mystique, the last one. So the next picture, she loved this picture. She thought that was the funniest picture in the world. And when her and I take it back to the other one, I want to see it. When we go places like this, everybody asked to have a picture with her. Everywhere we went, they asked to have a picture with her. Okay, next one's a Spider Girl picture. She did that. And I'll show that. Okay, keep going. Wonder Woman, that was her favorite. Everybody knew her as Wonder Woman. Oh my goodness. Okay, what's after that? And Bermuda, she loved Bermuda. That was a picture of that. Next. Oh, so Mica loved doing dangerous things as well. So she loved skydiving, and she would beg me to do these things with her. And I said, I have children. I can't do this kind of stuff. What if something happens to me? And so I said, I'll do indoor skydiving, right? So we took the boys and we didn't, but even I decided not even to do that either. I said, I'm going to stay on the ground. But we did that many times. So this is the day she decided to jump out of a plane for the first time. She did it several times. But this first time, my stomach was in knots. I was in the bathroom. I'm texting her, please don't do it. I don't think you should jump out of the plane. This is not something that humans should do. Here she is, how excited she is. I'm about to jump out of a plane. I'm drinking a coffee. And that was pretty much her life story right there. She was so excited, man. She jumped out of the plane many times. What's the next picture we got? Oh, there's the boys are so funny on our vacations. What's the next one? She was all big into tattoos, and I cannot stand tattoos because they hurt and I don't like pain. And the first time we went, she had gotten the 2 crosses, and she begged and begged and begged for me to get the matching tattoo. So we went to the tattoo guy and I said, listen, I don't like pain. I said, can we start with the smaller one? That way, if it hurts too bad, we can just stop there. And I discovered that while I was doing this and not looking, she was telling the guy, start with the big one. And so we started with the big one. I was like, oh my goodness. And then after that, I discovered this numbing cream you can buy online where you can put on you and you don't feel the tattoo. So after that, I said, okay, I'll do whatever you want. And so we had our marriage vows. And then what's the next one after that? Oh, so Africa. You know what? Before I talk about that, I want to talk about something else. So she was the greatest gift giver. All my life, I never enjoyed birthdays or Christmases. I thought it was a waste of money, waste of time because someone gets you something, thank you, and you don't. But she was so thoughtful with her gifts that when we got married, I would look forward every birthday and every Christmas, just waiting to see what she came up with. And amazing gifts. But one of the greatest gifts she ever gave was so special. I'm a comic book collector, and you get them graded, when they're worth a lot of money. And rarely do you see a 10. Normally they're 9.8 is the best you can get. And my favorite female character is She-Hulk. And so for the past few years, she would go and she put herself as She-Hulk on there, created this whole thing, painted herself and did this outfit and all, and would make these comics for me. And that just meant so much to me. We had them displayed in the house. And
wow,
she was just the best gift giver in the world. And I guess one more thing I'll say, and then I'm so sorry. I'm nervous. I'm so sorry. It hasn't really still hit me yet. She would write poetry. And I thought, what kind of woman, writes poetry? And she just write poetry. And so I want to read one of the more recent poems she wrote. She was so creative. She had a note field on her phone with just tons and tons of poems that she'd write for the family. And this one, she said, this one was actually a birthday present she gave. She said, it's a movie in my head, but I wish it were real. I see you on the playground, tell you how I feel. Give me a tiny flower that you picked days ago and say I was scared, but now I know. We grow up slow, but the days go by fast. This crush we have still seems to last. Our friends would poke fun. They'd say she's not the one. You should try some other guys. Maybe your feeling will change in time. But we stick together, hoping this could be forever. Passing notes in school just isn't enough. And keeping our hands off each other is tough. Kissing all night under the stars. We have a secret place we like to call ours. A house made of sheets and rope and stick. But to us, it feels more lasting than brick. Now it's college time, but we both know that's dumb. Why go our separate ways when we're having so much fun? Excuse me, I can't see. Driving until there's no more road. Singing Garth Brooks and Billy Joel. So we do what we do best, drive, sing, and play. We see every famous landmark along the way. I look up in the sky, so happy with my life, and a plane flies by. Mica, will you be my wife? A moment of destiny I couldn't have planned better, that I got to marry my crush forever. And that's nothing. She was so creative. It was just always just coming out of her. The Africa school, she always had different ideas. She'd come home with a different idea every other day. I want to create a water bottle. I want to, make peace in the world, like these different things she'd come up with. And some I was taught through counseling to just say, let's pray about it for 2 weeks and then we'll talk about it. And I learned after that, she'd forget about it after 3 days, or if it was a real thing that she actually wanted to do, it would stay with her. And so she came back from the Africa trip and she said, I want to start a school in Africa. And I said, okay, let's pray about it for a few weeks and see if that's what God wants us to do. I said, because it seems impossible. You know, it's not like you can talk to the Africans during the day because the time difference. So you have to send them a message and then wait another day and they return and wait another day and all that. So I said, let's talk about it in 2 or 3 weeks. She came to me 2 weeks later, said, I got it already. I have somebody that's going to make the food. I have the teachers we can hire. I have the price of what it's going to be. I have the location. I have the transportation. I have everything we need, curriculum and all. I said, how did you do? She said, I've been working hard. I said, okay, then I said, let's do it. We'll do it. And our goal was 50 to 100 kids. And when we sent our team just a few weeks ago, there were over 300 children that came out of the woods, literally just started walking from miles away just to be part of the school that Mica made. And of course, it's dedicated to her on the Dare to Care missions. But she had ideas like that all the time. I mean, just all the time. I can't even, if I had 10 hours a day, that wouldn't be enough time to tell you all the great things about her and what it was like to be in an intimate relationship with her. You know, I still can hear her voice, and I can still picture her just walking in the front door. And I think that might be, so I'm gonna close with is there any more pictures I forgot? Is that it? Oh, there's the picture of the family. Yeah. She was a great stepmom. In fact, she did so much work with the kids all the time. She was the one that would always help pick them up from school and get their food. And she'd take Salem, my daughter, all the time to get their nails done or to go to Lululemon or all these special girly things, you know. And I appreciated that from the very, very beginning. Not once did she ever complain about me having 5 kids. I can't believe. I just can't believe. So we're going to close with a parody. It's funny that we're showing the parodies because she didn't really like doing them, but she did it because she loved the church. And, you know, we'd be at home working on a parody and she'd say, let's work on this new worship song. I said, I really like the parody. Let's do the parody. And that meant a lot to me that she was always willing to do those. So we're going to show one. And then after that, Reverend Randall.
I wonder what his girlfriend's
and,
feeling.
This was my
right?
favorite parody that she did.
I wonder what she's doing sitting there. Wow.
I have nothing. I want to hear this.
All right, I probably can't play it because of copyright. We're just going to skip ahead a little bit. Oh, it's her singing. Hold on. My bad. I thought it was going to be something else. And it's the crackle of the audio, whatever they're using.
Give me love, take me for what I am, 'cause I'll let you change all my colors for you. Teach me love, give me your comforting touch, all that you are and everything that you do. I don't really need to look very much further. I don't want to have to go where you don't follow. I won't hold it back again. This passion inside, I can't run from your love. There's nowhere to hide. And don't let me run anymore. I just want to beg you, my Lord. It's in your arms when I'm there. I can just release every care. Don't look away from me. I have nothing, if I don't have you. You see through right to the heart of me. down my walls with the strength of your love. Ooh, I never knew love like I found it with you. And will eternity survive? Can I spend it with you? I will be too good. Very much better. I don't wanna have to go where you don't follow. I won't hold it back again. This passion inside, I can't run from your love. There's nowhere to hide. 'Cause your love I remember forever. Don't let me run anymore. I just wanna make you my love. It's in your arms right there. I can just release every care. Don't look away from me. Don't look away from me. Don't you dare look away from me. I have nothing, nothing, nothing. If I don't have you. If I don't have you.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Imagine being married to
What's
that.
up, brother?
It was like
Wow.
that in our house all the time. Y'all stand to
Wow.
your feet, and Pastor Randall's going to close in prayer. We'll play a song as we exit. And if you would like to, if any of you that close to Mica would like to gather in the fellowship hall, there'll be food and refreshments for you. Thank you. And if any of you want any of these pictures, feel free.
Let's pray.
Wow.
Father God, in the name of Jesus, God, we thank you, God, for this time. God, we thank you for allowing us the opportunity to share this time with Michael as she was here, oh God. God, I pray now, Lord, as we close this celebration of life, God, that you take us safely now to our different destinations today. Continue to bless this ministry and strengthen it, oh God. We lift Pastor Miller up before you now, oh God, that you will pour into him, God, that he will be strengthened in this season. We thank you, oh God. We ask it in your son, Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you and may God keep you is our prayer.
You can't have the comics, but you can look at them if you want to. I'll let you take a picture of these if you want.
Wow. There's the link to the whole video. I know there's more songs after that, or a song, but I hope that's crazy. Man, it's so sad. It's so sad. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and end the show for this evening. I know allegedly with Brittany J is going to be having a show. Let me hit you up with that link. I'm going to go hang out and chat and say what's up. And wow. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And I'll try and YouTube's bugging out. I know the notifications weren't really working, but it's okay. I say thank y'all. We'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate you. And we're going to have a game night coming up soon. We need a damn game night again, right? Need a damn game night. We'll have one coming up. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Please hit the like if you haven't yet. And we will see you tomorrow. Please, peaceful and positive evening. And I hope things turn around when it comes to Sebastian's case. It's just nothing but mudslinging anymore. Check out the intro. Little message for you guys. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow.